Gio is one of those other champions. Like we are, full of champions here in the interpreting sector. And I was privileged to work with Gio when I was in the board of IMIA many years ago. She was member of the National Board of Certification for Medical Interpreters. She was the chapter chair for the IMIA at the time. She has over 40 years of experience in the translation and interpreting sector. Currently, she is the general secretary and mentor of ABRATES, which is the Brazilian Association of Translators and Interpreters. She's the spokesperson for the ATA, the American Translations Association, co-founder and former president of the ATA Florida chapter chair. She is the social media for Najid, and I can keep going and going. And maybe, if you want to say something else, Gio, but basically she's an activist. She has been, advocating for interpreters. She's a conference interpreter and one of the pioneers as well in remote tools. Like she has been, working with Kudo and with other platforms as well. I believe she had tested. So Gio, welcome, and we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so very much.
Okay.
I believe my presentation is up already. Yes. So
Yes, it is.
Yes, this is the scene right now in our world for interpreters. This is what is going on. This is what we see when we think in terms of our work, the changes that have been happening in our world. So when I look at this, it's kind of scary. It's too many new things. But it only happened because of WebRTC, Web Real-Time Communications, and the developments made in sound equipment, headphones. They're much better now, and we have to thank gamers for that. So now we have this sync between image and sound and the good quality that we need to do our work. But this influx of, technology can be a little bit scary. And that is the issue for us interpreters. We need to be a little bit more knowledgeable of what is available for us. And I am having a little bit of trouble changing my screen here. Okay. I have no idea what is happening. Sergio, do you know what's going on?
I'm here, I'm following, and I can see the first slide is there.
Okay,
and
right.
It looks like it's now on the brain scans and now back.
I
So
got it.
you
No.
can see
Yeah.
it change.
So perfect, thank you. What I want you to focus on is this here, the technologies that appear there, those apps and services. They work specifically with conference interpreting. Wonderful. Let's assume that they are all perfect. There are no problems with their services. Then comes my concern. What are the interpreters' liabilities when we are working in those platforms? There are other questions, sure, but right now, what are our responsibilities towards those companies, our liabilities? If you are an interpreter, make sure that you read that contract very carefully, pay attention. Make sure that you meet the technical equipment requirements too, okay? And that you have the proper training to use the platform. Don't just throw yourself out there. And there are certain things that you cannot blame on destiny or serendipity. If you know that at 4 p.m. every day your internet goes out, do not accept assignments in that time frame. 4 o'clock? No, I can't do it. So you gotta be responsible also for what you are offering your clients. It is your responsibility. And this here, for those who don't know, is what is going on in our brains when we are doing simultaneous interpreting. Dozens of cognitive functions are happening almost simultaneously. Another concern I hear about all the time is how much more are we adding to the interpreter's load? Well, I have done RSI in 2 different platforms. I took the demo of 2 others, and I did not feel overloaded at all. Am I special? No, not at all. But it's possible that some of our colleagues are less comfortable with technology, and they will have a harder time. The solution? Go explore all of those platforms that are available to you. That's how you learn. And you pick and choose the ones that you like to work with. So these changes in our profession require more involvement on our part. It's our responsibility. We need to be part of the process. The first time I heard this concept was in 2011 during an Interpret America summit in 2020. It's now, and now it's 2020, and that statement still remains true. So we need to be part of the process, and that is our responsibility. Interpreting takes place in many different scenarios. So it doesn't matter necessarily where the interpreter is. For those of you who are attending, who are buyers of interpreting services, understand what you're paying for is technique, knowledge, our time, our professionalism, and we'll give that to you whatever we are working from. Therefore, why pay less for remote interpreting? I do not understand the reason. So the price should remain the same. Those who are buying interpreting services, especially remote interpreting services, since that's what I'm talking about, they're saving on food, hotel accommodations, hotel rooms, transportation, per diem, equipment rental. I mean, the interpreter is still delivering what you asked for. So location is irrelevant. And this here is the platform that I am the most familiar with. And let me change my slide over here. Kudo. They have been working on this since 2016, 2017. The first time I worked with them was 2017. I was holding an international online conference for translators and interpreters, and I showcased 2 of the remote simultaneous interpreting platforms, Headvox and Kudo. And I continued working with Kudo. They have studios all around the world. The last one I heard of was in China. And now they're also offering sign language interpreting. This photo I took last year in September. Now things have changed, and I have a more updated image to show you. And what I want to show you is that it is very much like being in a booth. Here you have the interpreter. And sometimes when you're in person, the interpreter is very far away from you. You can hardly see the speaker. Sometimes we actually close our eyes when we are interpreting so we can focus better. So I do not see what the issue is with not having a good view of the speaker. You do. Here you can have the presentations as you have now, I'm showing, or in this case, it was a presentation I had arranged with Miami-Dade College, and the students of the interpreting program were learning about remote interpreting. These are your outgoing channels. I always pick 2, Portuguese and English. Here is the interpreter's personal console. the dashboard, the events you are involved with, and your profile. This little thing here, some of you have already used the messaging service. You can have polls and documents and a bunch more things that other people are going to be talking about. And these are your incoming channels. I do not like relays, so I usually pick two, Portuguese and English. Actually, three, Portuguese, English, and Spanish. Those are the three languages I can work with. So those are the three I pick. And my Spanish is my C language. And these three down here are the other controls that you need. To choose where you're listening from, the mute button, the mic. The mic is red when it is on, and that is by ISO standards. They also have a handover button. So you don't have to be guessing when it's time to go in and cut your colleague off. You arrange when that's going to happen. So it is very similar to what is happening in a real scenario, in an in-person scenario. And here is a more recent photo of a Kudo window. In this case, you can see the American Sign Language interpreter window. Cool, isn't it? Yeah. So these are things that they are offering us in the remote interpreting, simultaneous interpreting world that we have to admire. We have to understand that perfection, no, it is not there. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So here you see the latest development that I am familiar with in Kudo, is the interpreting, the sign language interpreting window. Another aspect that people ask me a lot is the issue of copyright. Users of our services do not understand, but AIC has a very good explanation for it. Our work is for immediate use. That's it. You heard it, understood it, processed it, and that's it. The moment the clients want to record that work, then that work becomes a derivative creation of the interpreter. So what happens? You recorded our voices, and our voice that was supposed to have, our rendition that was supposed to have died right after we stopped speaking, now has a future. You can put that on a CD and sell it for training or for information purposes. But we, the interpreters, are not benefiting from that. You may have heard of the Berne Convention. They are very, very clear about that. So if you're working for a country that is a signatory of the Berne Convention, make sure you read your contract. If you're going to record, you have to charge something for that. It varies from interpreter to interpreter, from country to country. I cannot give you an idea of what to charge. Speak with your colleagues in your market. And this situation is very much of those of Henrietta Lacks. You may have heard of the HeLa cells. Henrietta had a very special type of cancer. The doctors collected her cells. They created petri dishes with them, and they sold them worldwide for decades. Her family never saw a cent until maybe 3 years ago, when they went to court and demanded it. So that's basically what we are talking about. That's my voice that you've recorded and you want to sell it. Where's my cut? And it's not a matter of being what do you call it, um, greedy. No, it's a matter of respect for the work, for the effort, for the knowledge, for all the years I have put in delivering that material to you with the quality that you want. You can also read more about this. There are a few articles. The first one over on top there, I wrote it for Najit, but the others are from different interpreters, colleagues of ours, and the last one is from Najit. This will give you some more information on the subject. It is very important for you to understand these 3 points. Number one, what you're paying for is our knowledge, our techniques, our ability to deliver, and we can do it from any place, okay? And number two, when you are recording our work, there is an issue of copyright that you need to be aware of. And three, if you're going to sell that work, we as interpreters need to be aware of it so that we can then collect our dues. Easy, simple? Yes. Now, we also need to train on the platform. So I repeat, everyone, go out there, learn about them, do what you can to become more proficient on what you do. And as Lola mentioned, this is our new reality. We need to be ready for it. If you need to get in touch with me, there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gio, and it's wonderful to have, the experience of someone like you who has been doing it both consecutive, simultaneous, leading the sector over so many years. So thank you.